Good afternoon, everybody watching us, and thank you for following. Thank you for coming here yet again. The battle continues. This is a statement from Home of Medical Missions, Global Home, to shed more light on certain misrepresented facts and update you, the citizenry, on recent developments. Home of Medical Mission began coming to the Gambia in the year 2000 with medical missions, mobile clinics, health education, children's programs, and community development. More than 4,000 people received medical care each year from the volunteers of Global Home. It was on this basis of service and for the purpose of providing long-term medical care for the Gambia and its people that it was deemed necessary to establish a permanent site. The allocation did come from the government of the Gambia. However, the allocated property had never been in the hands of the Gambia Tourism Authority, but it was a private property previously owned by one Masre Fall, who lived in Bijilo and wanted to also contribute her quota to what we were doing and offered her piece of land. She graciously gave her land up for a purpose greatly beneficial to the Gambian people. I will refer you to our press statement of November 2021 during our second arrest while in detention, where we provided more information in general, and we did on that statement. The timeline of events to when the legal battle commenced, it's all detailed in the same set press statement of November 2021. I will provide you with a copy for reference. But moving on to recent activities, I will provide you with all the following documents to make your own judgments. I have a copy of correspondences between Home of Medical Missions, Global Home, and the Gambia government prior to commencing the legal processes in court. I will also provide you with a judgment of 2019 from the magistrate court, which was the initial judgment to determine the ownership of this land, which the court determined that it legally belonged to Global Home. I will also provide you actions of the state after the judgment of 2019, which I can tell you they did not obey the judgment. Another judgment from the High Court revoking states' illegal actions. And when I say states' illegal action, after the judgment, which was served to the state still wrote to us, the organization, telling us that they were going to repossess the land. That action they took, which means they did not respect the court judgment. There are further actions from the state, and that is to write to us informing us that they have indeed revoked our lease. Then there was intervention from the Sheriff of the High Court in June. The Sheriff escorted us to the said land and gave us possession and handed us the land because it was directed by the High Court that the land belongs to us, and it was the Sheriff's responsibility to implement that action in June. But by then, the anti-crime was still in possession of this property. The Ministry of Interior engaged us and the IGP then to give them time so that their men will find a place to go and they will move out of the place. Finally, they did move, and a second time, the sheriff came officially to give us the property while it was empty. I want to remind you also of the state's action of our unlawful and illegal arrest of October 11, 2021, 2 days after we had a press conference here in the presence of the Sheriff of the High Court. There are judgments from the High Court, illegal arrest of court stated that the state violated our rights, and thus their actions were unconstitutional. And the court awarded us each $100,000, myself and the staff who were arrested, and also $25,000 of court fees, of legal fees. On November 19, 2 days after we got a judgment from the court, we were rearrested, manhandled, harassed, embarrassed, and detained for 4 illegal days, paraded in different stations within West Coast and KM. We were only taken to court the 4th day, and we were granted bail by the court. We then again sued the IGP and the Attorney General because the officers that arrested us claimed they were acting under orders from the IGP, and the court was very, very, very disgusted by the state action the second time, and then awarded us another cost and stated on no uncertain times that should we be arrested on our legal properties for no reason. The court judgment stated that. Again, the court in trying to, the state, sorry, in trying to continuously to disobey the rule of law of the land, in trying to massage their egos, file a process in court asking the court to set aside the judgment. Set aside meaning to revoke the judgment that the court previously delivered to say the property belongs to Home of Medical Mission, Global Home. After proceedings from January till June, that was Monday the 20th, the court dismissed the application of the state, saying that it lacked merit and they did not prove their case beyond reasonable doubt, and that the property still belongs to Home of Medical Missions, Global Home, and we should continue with our work. That was just Monday the 20th. May I remind the AG of his utterances in his press releases of 11th of October and 20th of October 2021. That was during our first and second arrest. They released statement in both instances. The AG claimed that there were 2 litigations ongoing in court. Now I ask the AG, at the time, if there were cases going in court, why did the OIC Secretariat, together with its purported investors, contractors, and engineers, make a site visit to the said property on the 20th of October? That is when there is a case still in litigation. I asked the IGP that question because I think he is a lawyer and he's supposed to be au fait with the law. And as Attorney General, you're expected to uphold, respect first and foremost the law, because you are the custodian of the law. So we don't expect as citizens that you will be the very one to flout the law, to disrespect the law or orders of the court. I want to remind the AG that the state made an attempt by way of an application to strike out the suit on the representation that the property was one of those acquired by Yaya Jammeh and therefore a subject of the Janneh Commission, which was in fact false. That was not a statement of truth. The said application was dismissed by the court because it lacked merit. It did not have any substance. The state thereafter accepted land rent from Home of Medical Missions in the sum of $589,000 is $500. I just want you to connect the dots. You just went to court and said they don't own the property. They should not, it was given to them illegally, thus they should not have it. The court dismissed your application. You get in turn, come and say, pay your rates. And we paid, they received it. And they have not returned us that money until the day I'm talking to you right now. So that is corruption, it's fraud. If something does not belong to somebody, you're not supposed to charge them, collect fees from those people. Such a payment, we believe that such a payment, in fact, should have been waived because the organization was not in use of this property from 2010 to 2019 when we obtained a judgment in court. Why would you charge us when it was being used by the state and the state apparatus, but you collected money from us? May I be clear on this one, that the President, His Excellency Barrow, at a meeting at State House, revealed to us that they have received $87 million from a foreign investor to build a hotel on this property. That was the arrangement he had with his executive. And they will use it for the OIC, which was for 3 days, he said. And after the 3 days OIC, the investor will continue to use the property as a private hotel. This particular statement by the President was later reiterated by the government spokesperson, Ibrahima Sankare, which we have on record. And it was tendered in court. It is unimaginable that as a lawyer, the Attorney General would state that the judgments or orders of the courts in favor of Home of Medical Mission are unenforceable. It is despicable for such a statement to come from a lawyer. It is a basic principle of law that all judgments and orders of courts are valid and subsist until set aside. Even lay people, I'm sure you journalists will agree with me on that. I'm not a lawyer, but I know that. I dare to say that contrary to the misunderstanding of the law by the Attorney General, all the orders obtained by the mission are enforceable, subsist to date. It has not been set aside. And nobody has the legal right, the authority to set aside a court judgment unless it's a competent court of same or higher jurisdiction. The Attorney General should provide you with the following questions, answers with the following question. He said, GOM, Home of Medical Mission, is a non-legal entity and cannot own land. Why did the state itself granted the lease to the mission? That is a question I want the journalists to put to the Attorney General. Why permitted the mission to develop the land and equip the facility with hospital equipment in excess of $1.5 million? And citizens of the Gambia were utilizing the medical facility in this Gambia under the state's watch. After the judgment of the Magistrates Court in 2019, why accept land rent from the same mission, like I previously said, in the sum of $589,550? Why, which up to date, those monies, even though you still continue to obstruct us, even though you still continue to deprive us of our property, even though you still continue to use state apparatus as banana jackets to obstruct us, but you still have not refunded us our money to say this money was not supposed to be paid because the land is not yours. Why? We want to know. The Attorney General has said that they have transferred the property to a private investor to build a hotel for the OIC. How then can you do such as the AG? The OIC Secretariat, in a press conference on Monday, 20th June, the same day the High Court dismissed the state's application, responded to a journalist that the property is 100% state-owned and has been given to a private investor. The question is, how the state can transfer the said property to a private investor when they have not yet acquired the property from the mission? It's an irony. With my little knowledge of the law, I know that one cannot give what he or she does not have. Ownership of the property remains with Home of Medical Missions, Global Home, and therefore the state could not have legitimately transferred it to anyone else. The state, through the AG, continues to take the law in their own hands and blatantly disobeying and disrespecting the orders of the courts. As far as we are concerned, I'm talking to you, the land belongs to the organization, Home of Medical Missions, Global Home, and nobody has any right, any whatsoever, to do anything on this right. Anything that is done here, it should be under our approval. We should give you permission to do it. Otherwise, it is illegal, and you should be charged in contempt of court order. That is what should happen. And I think that's what are the things we have to put in emphasis. These men that you see here are illegally here. I did not ask them to come here. They say they are here by orders. Which orders, I don't know. So they're trespassing on my land. And that need to be put to them. They need to know. You guys, I invite you. I send you information and say, come. So you people should have been in here, not outside.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes, please.
We understand that the president is supposed to come here to do laying of the foundation stone construction for this hotel.
Yes.
What's your response to that, the president coming here?
Well, for me, I still make it think it's a plan. Until it happens, I cannot comment on that. Even though they've made utterances that in July, the president is going to come to lay foundation stone. I don't know on what authority the president is banging on to come and perform such an action. But let's watch and see whether the president, who is supposed to protect all of us, who's supposed to be promoting the rule of law, who's supposed to be making sure the right thing is done, who's supposed to be making sure our judiciaries are functional, who's supposed to be making sure nobody compromises the sanctity of our judiciary. Let's see whether he himself will be in contempt, because if the president comes here, I'm not inviting him. It's not going to be under our invitation, and he also will be trespassing on this land, and he will be sued. He will be charged for contempt. We will make sure we go to court to file contempt proceedings against him, because nobody is above the law. So I am not aware, as I speak to you, of any attempts from the government to negotiate with us or to compensate us, because there was a statement made by the AG in one of the press releases that they have tried to give us another piece of land. Now, I ask the question. You say we are not a legal jurisdiction to own property in this country, right? Why would you negotiate to give us another piece of land? May I ask that? Because that still continues to baffle me. We are not existing, so why would you negotiate with us? We are not existing. Why did you travel to America to talk to us? We are not existing. Why did you collect money from us? We are not existing. Why are you suing us in court, which you've lost? So, I mean, let's ask ourselves this question. If what they're saying is anything to go by.
And also the NHRC, in their report, did make reference to your case. I don't know if you've seen it. So they are obviously involved in this, because these police officers that we see here, they are all subject to oversight from the National Human Rights Commission. And they are stopping you from legally entering your property. So what's your response about this?
Well, just to say that we still have people that live in the era of 22 years of authoritarian rule. They have not gotten out of that shell because they don't understand what's up, which they need to. After the TRRC, I think everybody should have been awoke. Everybody should have been enlightened, and everybody should have been more loving to each other as Gambians, as people, as humans, than allowing themselves to be used. That's what I expect. But like you rightly say, the Human Rights Commission, a very reputable organization, did their findings, did their investigations. They consulted with the Attorney General. They consulted with the courts. They consulted with everybody that in one way or the other is involved in this or is a stakeholder. And they were able to determine that we were wrongfully arrested, the actions were illegal and unconstitutional, and our human rights were violated because we were humiliated, we were harassed, we were frustrated, we were manhandled, right? In the front of, it's on camera. The records are there. It's not a matter of I think or I'm assuming. It's there on camera. So that's why the Human Rights Commission came out with that report, and our issue was highlighted. I mean, if you haven't read it, I think it's page 24 and 25 of the report that was just out a week ago or 2 weeks ago. you might want to refer to that report and see what the Human Rights Commission has said. So again, the state has instituted an institution, but still continue to disrespect that same institution that they have set up to say they wanted human rights to be protected in this country.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you guys so much. And the battle continues. We will not relent. So stay tuned while we continue to make sure we work towards helping each other, helping us Gambians have a good life, have a better life by bringing very good medical facility that will cater to our needs, because the country is in their need of a very good medical facility. We don't have it. Private hospitals are doing way better than what our tax and monies should provide for us. And we want to complement those efforts and make sure we don't go far to seek that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But I want to ask the Gambians, hotel or hospital, what is your priority as Gambians? A hotel or a hospital, a medical facility? What is your priority? What is your need? What would you rather want? Let the Gambians choose. Let the Gambians say what is their interest in this.